Okay guys, we're back for episode 5 of Dear Esther, and we just had a revelation that our character's been, carrying around some ashes with him, and keeping them as a sort of a talisman. So I think we're probably finishing up the game pretty soon. Things are starting to come together, but I think there may still be a little bit more ahead, so we're going to keep moving. Looking for orange points to point us in the right direction. Looks like we have an option, or maybe this is just to look around for a second. I still want to know what that creepy thing was floating down in the stream. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to see it too. It's sort of a weird feeling to know that you're sort of being manipulated in a willing way. And that's the picture from the beginning, right? Pretty sure it is. Looks like a different context, though. And I'm betting the metaphorical parts of our journey are going to be able to be mapped to some actual emotional state. Well, I mean, it may just be as simple as going from day to dusk as a person's life fades away. I mean, it's pretty literal in that respect, if that's the case. More pieces of the car. Starting to become a little bit more clear. I mean, anyone's ever seen a candlelight vigil, it's pretty direct now. We're not talking so much in metaphor. And this is sort of set up like exhibits in a museum or something.
There were chemical diagrams on the posters on the walls on the waiting room. It seemed appropriate at the time. Still life abstractions of the processes which had already begun to break down your nerves and your muscles in the next room. I crammed diazepam as I once crammed for chemistry examinations. I am revising my options for a long and happy life.
That's quite a quote. I'm revising my options for a long and happy life. Light from heaven shone around him. Definitely a much more somber tone as we left the caves into this area. The lack of music is also further emphasizing that too. So is it really that simple? Is that all there is to it? I mean, the chemicals were just abstractions that he became infatuated with on the walls in the hospital? Oh, those are birds. I couldn't tell what those were at first. Some very creepy ambience
I
here.
can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
Wow. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the impression I'm getting here is this man had his daughter die in a car accident, basically lost his mind, kept her ashes, and I don't know, I can't tell what parts of this are actually supposed to be real and what's supposed to be going on in his mind. On a sudden, a light from heaven shone around him, and he fell to the ground. And there's eggs symbolizing rebirth, perhaps. And, I think I get it now. I mean, we had a ramp coming up, we got a ramp going down, and the path here, covered in rocks. Sat and watched for all of the boats to sink. And I think that's where we go.
Come back.
No? Sure seemed like it to me. I didn't see too many other options. Oh, am I supposed to be going back up? I guess I didn't notice this. I mean, I saw it, but I don't think I registered it as an option, as a place to go. Right, I think the goal was actually to get to the beacon at the end. Although my way would have worked as well, I think. Though, you know, pretty depressing, clearly. I mean, I don't think we're getting away from that point, whether I go there or not.
When Paul keeled over dead on the road to Damascus, they resuscitated him by hitting him in the chest with stones gathered by the roadside. He was lifeless for 21 minutes, certainly long enough for the oxygen levels in his brain to have decreased and caused hallucinations and delusions of transcendence. I'm running out of painkillers, and the moon has become almost unbearably bright.
It's interesting. I mean, it's still difficult to tell what we're seeing happen in front of us and what we're talking about like they were memories. I'm sure you guys are going to help regale me with the exact specifics. Or maybe there aren't actually specifics. I think that's part of the beauty, is that this is largely interpretive. As I said in the first episode.
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and carves parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it, but I kind of don't really know what to say about it. It's sort of a very deep connection. You just sort of feel it. You don't receive the words with the words that are given. And I hate being quiet for so long, but I almost don't know what to say. I mean, it's a journey. I mean, we're taking it. And, once you got the context, I mean, it's a little bit, well, clearly depressing. What does this say? Kind of tired of not being able to read all this stuff. And has come near to Damascus. he... Oh, it's from both sides now. And he was
If
there...
only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he
3
became
days without
his
sight.
syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
And neither did he eat nor drink. Oh wow, I think the stars are actually turning red. Wow, that's so many colors. If you took a snapshot of this, it could almost look like we're on another planet. You know, predisposing that this is Earth. Keep making assumptions like that, I don't know why I do it. So yeah, that all explains the candles now.
Bent back like a nail, like a hangnail, like a drowning man clung onto the wheel, drunk and spiraled, washed onto the lost shore under a moon as fractured as a shattered wing. We cleave, we are flight and suspended, these wretched painkillers, this form inconstant. I will take flight, I will take flight.
Right. Alright, well now it's becoming painfully clear exactly what our motivation for climbing to the highest point on this island is. Although, maybe if that's true, maybe a little bit strange that I would have already fallen 3 or 4 times in places that should have probably killed me. And it came to pass that as I made my journey... I'm gonna like walk backward off the thing. And was some... I kinda can't read that anymore, and I'm just gonna fall off here. Suddenly, from all, heave a of light round about me, and could not see.
A gull perched on a spent bonnet, sideways, whilst the sirens fell through the middle distance and the metal moaned in grief about us. I'm about this night in walking, old bread and gull bones, old Donnelly at the bar gripping his drink, old Esther walking with our children, old Paul as ever, old Paul. He shakes and he shivers and he turns off his lights alone.
Glory, that light, being led by the hand of men. Fortunately, I missed about 40% of the words there, but I think I still get the spirit of it. Or there's more. That were with me. I actually wish there was subtitles for the text. When you point at it, it would actually just display that word in proper typography. Came into... Am I supposed to read this down? Damascus. The beacon. The length of this walk definitely exacerbates what the point of it is.
We will leave twin vapor trails in the air, white lines etched into these rocks.
My heart's actually kind of pounding.
Dear Esther, I have burnt my belongings, my books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jakobsen? Who remembers him? Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me. I will rise from the ocean like an island without bottom, come together like a stone, become an aerial, a beacon, that they will not forget you. We've always been drawn here. One day the gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jacobson flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where help will be sent.
Wow. I had to try and move the perspective just to see if I could. Well, you guys got your wish if you wanted to hear me teary. You know, I actually feel like there's not a whole lot I could say that would really do any more than what just happened. I mean, it is what it is. You can see it. You can feel it. I mean, I don't need to describe it. I'm just happy I didn't spoil this.
Come back.
Alright friends, that was Dear Esther. I'm really happy I got to share that journey with you, and I'm glad you guys wanted to watch it. And I do hope that I get to do more stuff like this with you guys, and I had a really good time playing it. It was definitely a very moving and touching and, you know, amazing experience, so I still urge all of you to go out and pick it up if you haven't already. It's definitely worth the money. Just a really great thing. I mean, the subject matter is not exactly the greatest as far as not being depressing, but it definitely will make you think. And I'm glad I got to play it. So, that'll wrap us up. Thank you for sticking with me for the 5 episodes, and I hope to hear from you all in the comments. So, have a wonderful night, and don't let this bring you down too much, okay? Later.